The frozen vale was a place no Viking hunted. Not because the game was scarce, but because something hunted back. Sheep would vanish without a trace. Tracks would just end abruptly, soaked in blood. And at night, a howl would roll through the mountains, a sound so deep and chilling it made even seasoned warriors instinctively reach for their blades. The elders whispered of Skarnulf, the great wolf said to be born of pure ice and the cold light of the moon. Eirik Stormborn listened to these stories, his jaw set. He heard the fear in the voices of his people, he saw the worry in their eyes. While others huddled closer to the fire, Eirik simply took his spear. He traveled alone into the desolate vale, the snow rising to his knees with every step, the wind biting at his skin like 1,000 tiny teeth. For days he saw nothing but endless white. He felt the weight of the valley's silence, a silence that felt watchful. Then, one evening, as the sky turned a deep, bruised purple, Skarnulf appeared. It emerged from the swirling snow like a ghost, larger than any beast Eirik had ever laid eyes on. Its fur was as white as freshly fallen frost, and its eyes burned with a piercing, ethereal blue flame. Its breath steamed in the frigid air like a blacksmith's forge. The wolf circled him, a low guttural snarl rumbling in its chest, a promise of violence. But Eirik didn't raise his spear to attack. Instead, he planted it firmly in the snow beside him. "You guard this land," Eirik's voice was steady, carrying through the wind, "just as I guard my people." He met the wolf's icy gaze without flinching. "If one of us must fall tonight, let it be the one who forgets why he fights." For a moment, there was only the sound of the wind. Then, with a roar that shook the very ground, Skarnulf charged. The world became a blur of white fur and blue fire. Eirik raised his shield just in time, the impact throwing him backward with brutal force. He landed hard, the air knocked from his lungs, snow filling his mouth. Pain, sharp and hot, burned through his arm, but he forced himself back to his feet. He wasn't filled with anger. He was filled with resolve. The battle raged under the full moon. It was a dance of shield and claw, spear and fang. Eirik was a blur of motion, deflecting, dodging, moving with a warrior's grace. He felt his muscles scream, his lungs burn, but he refused to give in. He wasn't fighting to kill a monster. He was fighting to understand the force of nature. When the moon reached its highest point in the sky, casting long, stark shadows across the snow, Eirik saw his opening. He lunged forward, but his aim wasn't for the heart or the throat. He struck the wolf's powerful shoulder. Skarnulf let out a howl of pain and surprise, collapsing onto the snow, wounded but alive. Eirik stood over the magnificent creature, his chest heaving, his breath clouding in the air. He lowered his weapon. "I will not kill a guardian," he said, his voice quiet but firm. "I will only remind it of its strength." Slowly, painfully, Skarnulf rose. The great wolf looked at Eirik, a long, silent stare that seemed to last an eternity. There was no longer hatred in its eyes, but something else. A flicker of understanding, perhaps even respect. Then, without a sound, it turned and vanished back into the swirling snowstorm from which it came. The sheep were never taken again. The valley returned to its silent, peaceful state. But sometimes, on the darkest nights, when enemy raiders would creep towards the tribe's village, a distant howl would echo from the mountains, a powerful, warning cry. It would be followed by profound silence, and the enemies would be gone by morning. The elders would hear it, and they would smile. Eirik Stormborn had not slain the monster of the frozen vale. He had made an ally. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tale, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more stories like this. We'll see you in the next one.